Welcome to Go Big or Go Decom. I am Cece Ciccone.
And I'm Kelsey Bowman.
And Kelsey, I feel like this week we should be using like a voice changer or something.
Yeah, some except her voice didn't sound changed
It didn't sound changed at all.
at
Anyway,
all.
what did we watch?
We watched Radio Rebel
I
2012 DCOM starting Debbie Ryan. Although we've had some controversy this week between ourselves about
I
whether or not this is a
have
DCOM.
thoughts. I have thoughts. And I really wanted us to I wanted to convince Kelsey that we shouldn't do this movie because I
We
really
should
didn't like
skip
it.
it.
Spoiler
I
alert.
really held fast that it was a DCOM.
And Kelsey really did. So, but there is a legitimate argument for why this
There
movie is
is.
not a decom. And that argument is that the movie was actually produced by a Canadian media company,
It was
basically.
produced with Mar Vista Productions, which
Hmm.
Disney uses to produce basically all the DCOMs. Other companies use it too, like Lifetime. It was produced in conjunction with a Canadian company. It was filmed in Vancouver. It sounds like basically it was the Canadian company did almost everything, and Mar Vista
Hmm.
just kind of gave them some money.
Yeah, but Disney does not own the distribution rights to Radio
Correct. We
Rebel.
learned this because it is on Peacock and it is on Amazon Prime and is not on Disney
It's
Plus.
not on Disney Plus. So that brought this big question in my mind as to can something be a decom that Disney doesn't own? And my
And
argument was
we
no, we should watch a better movie.
we are following the rules on the Disney Channel original movie Wikipedia page, which I'm probably the top user of that page.
Yeah, I'm on that
And
page multiple times a week.
yeah, exactly. Like we're up there. And it's on that page because Disney promoted it as a Disney Channel original movie. And this is not a necessity for being a Disney Channel original movie, but it did premiere on Disney Channel before it premiered on the Canadian channel
Yeah,
that
you know
the
it's
Canadian
it's
company was
interesting.
working
I
with.
have the Wikipedia page for Radio Rebel pulled up right now, and I'm just looking at the cover art, and it says Radio Rebel, and then there's a sticker that says "As seen on Disney Channel,"
As seen on TV.
as seen on TV, as seen on
She's
Disney
like a
Channel.
sham wow.
So, so anyway, I'm gonna be a real naysayer this entire time because
This is so
I
great because
hated this
I thought
movie.
this was a good time. Like I'm Radio Rebel.
We are Radio Rebel.
Exactly.
We are
I
the
and this is funny
top
because
radio DJs in Seattle.
the last two flops, the
Yeah,
Jenny Project and Zapped, I disliked more than you did.
it's true.
So
I
this
don't
is funny. Now you're
know
the hater.
what went so wrong. And I mean I guess we'll go through it and I'll
I
talk
mean,
about
you
it.
don't have to have it's your opinion.
I
Like you don't have
have
to have reasons.
I
You're like, no, I have reasons.
recently saw Debbie Ryan in a not Disney Channel movie in Life of the Party with Melissa McCarthy, where she plays like divorcee who returns to college with her daughter. And
Melissa McCarthy does, not
Melissa
Debbie
McCarthy
Ryan.
does. Debbie Ryan is like the mean girl who's like,
That's
"You're
funny.
old. You don't belong here." So anyway, I love Melissa McCarthy. I don't have any feelings about Debbie Ryan except for that.
Yeah,
I
she
don't.
seems swell. She is another big Disney show. She's done things since, like you said, she was in that movie. She was in Insatiable on Netflix, which I think only lasted two series. It was pretty controversial. She,
So she started in Sweet Life on Deck. Is that correct?
yes. And then she starred in Jessie. She was Jessie,
Ah, okay. I don't think
which
I ever saw
I
that.
did not watch.
Yeah,
Um,
a little too old for
Although
us.
Cameron, I forgot his last name, who was also in Descendants.
May he rest in peace.
May he rest in peace.
Yeah,
What a beautiful man. And
yeah.
he started on Jessie as well. He was in Jessie with her. She was in
Got
this.
it.
She was in 16 Wishes. Did you ever see 16 Wishes? Not a decom.
Okay, so see, here's the thing. There is a DVD release combo pack with Radio Rebel and 16
In
Wishes.
16 Wishes, does it say Disney? Because 16
No, it's
Wishes did
not because
play.
this is not a decom.
16 Wishes played on Disney Channel as well, but was never promoted as a Disney Channel original movie.
I know that our audio listeners cannot see my face right now, but I would encourage you to go to YouTube so that you can see
Disgust. Don't go to YouTube. I have a breakout.
see my facial reaction. Um, So yeah, I mean the plot of the movie basically is that Debbie Ryan is a shy girl.
Not shy. Debbie Ryan is, they call her shy. She is beyond shy. She has
Social
like
anxiety.
yes, like debilitating. She cannot speak in front of the class. She cannot be called on. She cannot speak to the boy she likes at all, to the point where she runs away. To the point where to have a conversation with someone, at one point she stands behind a refrigerator so that she can talk to them without looking at them.
Yeah. But for some reason, when she gets behind a microphone and turns on a
Right.
voice changer, that just makes her sound like any
Her
other teenage girl.
herself. Right.
For some reason she's a fountain of wisdom, and she's
Mm-hmm.
very enjoyable to listen to, and young people and adults alike enjoy her show Radio Rebel. But the whole thing is that no one knows who Radio Rebel is. So they know that Radio Rebel goes to Lincoln Bay High School, where all of them are, and they're trying to figure out who it is. Of course, naturally, no one suspects Debbie Ryan's character named Tara, although I'm probably going to keep referring to her as Debbie Ryan because it was awful acting.
Did you
Anyway,
recognize the meme at the end?
what meme?
There is a meme of at the end when she like looks up at him when he's playing guitar and she like puts her hair to the side and like bites her lip.
I did not recognize that.
You okay, I'll have to go over it. But yeah, it's
Mhm.
bad. And again at the end, yeah, the costuming's terrible. The
There's quite a lot of dancing.
bad
That's
dancing.
bad.
There's not
Um,
always, it's also implied a lot of the dancing, there's no music playing. She says, have a
yeah,
dance party, and everyone just does.
just dances with no music. Yeah, so I think it was funny. I was thinking about this on my drive home from work tonight. That like the movie had the vibe that it was making fun of itself, but I don't think that was intentional.
I don't think so either.
Right. So to me, that's a bad movie.
It felt that's the thing. It was like so close to being campy, and I love camp.
Mhm.
That's why I love these types of movies. I love Lifetime
Yeah.
movies. Like it was so close to being campy, but it didn't. It just needed like a little more oomph, but it took itself a little too seriously to be campy.
Yeah. So do you want to start us off?
Sure. So yes, we start with a montage of her talking about Radio Rebel and Radio Rebel's like explaining her school. Like there's cool kids, there's not cool kids. Again, it felt like the intro to Mean Girls, but also as if the montage of the internet and stuff felt like 1999-ish.
Yeah.
It didn't feel
Yeah,
like
like everyone's
2012
still
right
trying to
then.
figure out the internet, but yeah, 2012 we were all pretty solidly on the internet.
Yes. She
2012.
hosted as a podcast that people are listening to on their MP3
Which
devices
is so
because
goofy. Okay, stop because I have
they
a
can't
complaint.
say iPod.
But yeah, well they can't say iPod. They don't do the Nickelodeon thing where it's a pair pod. But so it's a live streamed podcast. Like that's radio.
Yes, that's radio.
That's not a podcast.
No, it's not. It doesn't seem right that you can like listen to it again later.
It's
It's
just
a live
like
stream
this is
podcast.
like one of
Podcasts were not popular in 2012. So I also thought it was interesting they kept saying podcast. I don't think I knew what a podcast was in 2012.
I listened to
No, I must have.
podcasts when I was in high school, but I don't think I had a way, or there might have been a way. I don't think I knew how to get them like on my phone or my iPod. So I actually listened to them just on my computer, like in
Yeah,
iTunes.
I had a teacher who there's a podcast Grammar Girl and she explains grammar like Gossip Girl, but she was Grammar Girl. I had a teacher who would play Grammar Girl for us, but again, he just opened it up on his Google
Yeah.
Chrome and it would play Grammar Girl from her website.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. It's just it's right. So it's radio. It's radio over the internet, but it's radio. Um and that's what she's
It's
doing.
very popular at her high school.
Yeah.
She has a best friend whose name I forgot. And
People do like listening parties
yes,
for Radio Rebel. They're like,
they
you want
have
to come over and like listen?
they have two male friends who are twins who are trying to figure out Radio Rebel's identity. They're really into it. So it's a known thing. Radio Rebel is popular. She talks to her friend is like oh, Radio Rebel's so cool. And Tara says, I wish I was more like her. And her friend says, you should ask your stepdad for an internship. He runs Slam FM,
Whoa, Slam FM. That would be such a
biggest
big
radio
deal
station in
in
Seattle. And she's like,
Seattle.
he probably thinks I'm a step freak. The writing was
But
bad.
it does turn out that evening, which, okay, so Tara's mom is like a cool mom, like that's
Is
the
she a
vibe
cool
that
mom or is she just vapid?
that's a good question. Is well very different from her daughter, just as very, like image obsessed, is like
Mhm.
seems like she, like wants her daughter to be popular or whatever. Um and then there's her stepdad who's the executive at Slam FM, and he's like, you have to hear this Radio Rebel. And naturally Tara is locked in her room because she doesn't like to be around anybody. But what no one realizes is that she's locked in her room because she is Radio Rebel, like doing the show. So she plays music. It's not just a talk,
Yeah, she
show.
plays songs,
Uh,
mostly rock is the implication, though.
which
Not anything. I don't know if
um
they're actually any of them are real
I don't know if
bands.
you remember this or not, Kelsey, but I had a radio show in college.
I do remember.
And one of the thoughts that I had when I was watching this, that I also probably should have asked when I had a radio show in college, was that, like, typically radio stations have to pay royalties for playing
Ooh,
songs.
good point.
And we didn't. We just used Spotify. And it becomes clear that Radio Rebel doesn't either. Anyway, so she's in her room doing the show. Her mom encourages her stepdad, says, hey, this might be like a really good opportunity for you to connect with
Yeah.
her.
Go
Because
talk to
obviously,
Tara about it.
yeah, go talk to Tara about it. She's a young person, see what she thinks, because her stepdad wants Radio Rebel to come on
Slam
the
FM.
on Slam FM. Thank you. So he goes up, he knocks on her door, he comes in, he's like, hey, have you heard this? And she's like, yeah, this is great. And then the song ends and there's dead air because Tara is talking to her stepdad and is not on the microphone. So
And
then,
he says, that's weird. It's not playing. Did it stop for you? And she doesn't really hesitate. She just hops on and
yeah,
records
she
this
just
Radio
goes
Rebel in front of him.
over to the microphone and reveals herself to be Radio Rebel. So that's kind of the first person who knows, is like her stepdad,
Yes.
who obviously tells her mom.
And he says, this is amazing. You're coming on Slam FM. He didn't ask, which was nice that he supported her, but also I felt he could have asked.
Yeah, it's a really interesting thing, and I had one person in particular in mind. Do you know any, like, people who are just, and I know you said, like, she's more than shy. She has, like, social anxiety or whatever. But, like, who are shy in person, and then, like, you look at their social media feeds and they like reveal themselves. Do you know anyone like that? Because I
No.
could think of like some. No, you don't. I could think of, there's one person in particular that I could think of who was just like, who, like, I hung out with often, but just like never really talked.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, but I feel like I know her because of her social media feed. But she would like never talk about, like, I don't
All
know
those
what kinds
things.
of art that she liked or whatever.
Yeah, it's definitely true that people reveal a lot more. Some people are much more willing to share, and it goes the same way with like bullying. Obviously, people are just
Sure.
much more willing to do things online
And
than in person.
anonymously, especially. So this is a good example of someone who did something anonymously that was good and life-giving and whatnot. But, like, yeah, there's lots of people when they get that anonymity of the internet who just do things that no one would ever put their name to. So anyway, Tara gets to check out Slam FM.
Well,
Super
she goes
cool.
back to school first. She's partnered with Gavin, the boy she likes, and Stacy, the mean girl, in a project about Shakespeare. She finally says words to Gavin. Though there was a previous scene where she had to answer a teacher's question at the board, and she
Hmm.
is like shaking.
Right.
She has to go back to her seat, and she doesn't say anything. It was not being shy, like we said. It
That's
was
her.
like
Like
horrible,
crippling.
debilitating
Yeah.
anxiety. Which is like maybe her mom should have, maybe they should have talked about this.
Yeah, it would have been a great opportunity instead of almost just like making it like low-key funny.
Right.
Because
Stacy is our mean
actually,
girl antagonist.
Stacy's the mean girl antagonist. Gavin is the love interest. Gavin is played by Adam DeMarco, who played the older brother in Zapped,
Hmm.
and he also was in White Lotus. I was like, where do I know this kid from? He was in season 2 of White Lotus. You probably
Mm-mm.
didn't watch it.
Mm-mm.
I
I have
liked it a lot,
children.
not
No.
family friendly. Um,
I'd
but
love to watch it.
he wasn't, but you have two small children.
Right. It's not really appropriate. My
So
son's big into repeating everything he hears,
yeah,
so
he should not watch that one. So Gavin's the love interest, but I do want to jump back to like what you were saying really quickly about how they could have made her anxiety like an important part of the plot, like
yes.
not just a laugh factor. Because I can think of I was involved in a high school retreat, maybe like 2-3 years ago, and the amount of kids who identified as having anxiety was just like so many more than I ever imagined. And like this would have been a really great opportunity. And I mean, granted, this was 2012. I don't think we were there. We weren't having that same conversation yet.
Yeah, true.
But I'll be interested to see if any of the newer DComs kind of tackle that mental health factor.
Hmm.
Because it's
Be-
certainly something that's on the mind of kids like as young as 11 and 12.
because as she gets more confident in Radio Rebel, the anxiety just sort of goes away. Her shyness is what they call it, just goes away.
Mhm.
And that's obviously not realistic because people who have anxiety, it's not really tied to your confidence
Well, it's interesting,
necessarily.
right? Because I think that there's a couple of things there. There's a creative outlet.
Hmm.
She, in a safe way, is putting herself out there, and people are responding positively to it.
It's true.
Which I think is a real like that anxiety is like, does anyone like me? Am I going to say something dumb? Am I going to, like all of that. So I do think there is a little bit there, but you're right. Um, like I don't know that anyone who really had that deep of anxiety would ever put themselves out there in a radio show at all.
Yeah.
Um, but this is the movie that we have, right?
But this is the movie we're working with.
The not decom.
So it is a decom. It's on our podcast.
So here we are.
So yeah, she has the partner. She's part of the project with Gavin. It's not really a necessary part of the plot in any way, this project. Like we keep having scenes about it, and it just wouldn't really matter if we cut all of them. It just felt like
Yeah.
filler. Audrey gets mad at her because Audrey is her friend's name. Audrey gets mad at
Yes.
her because Tara won't hang out with her. Tara's like, Tara, no excuses prepared. There's
Right.
several times when someone says, "What are you doing tonight?" and she goes, I'm busy." She doesn't
Right.
have a fake Scrabble club. She doesn't have a fake anything.
Yeah, I feel like she should be like, "Oh, I started swimming lessons," or "I'm
Right.
really into Taekwondo now."
Exactly. Exactly.
Like something.
Right. My mom and I drive, I don't know, to something an hour away on Thursdays.
Right.
Like
I'm
she couldn't make
grounded.
up anything. I'm grounded. Nothing. It's
Nothing.
just, oh, I have plans. Okay. Audrey's like,
So
I know
everyone's
everything.
suspicious.
It's so suspicious. For someone who really doesn't want people to know she's Radio Rebel, she put no effort into disguising the fact she's Radio Rebel. Except her voice changer. Her voice
Doesn't
sounds
really
insane.
change. So okay, I so I will say my sister was born in 2003. She considers Radio Rebel to be a decom classic.
That
Um,
I have to sit
right.
down.
Isn't
I am
that
sitting down. It's a good thing I'm
isn't
sitting
that
down.
horrific? So she considers Radio Rebel to be a decom classic. Um, and it's just it's anyway. I don't
This is
know.
not a it's not good. I'm
Okay,
not saying this is
so
like a great movie.
around the same time, it was earlier, a few years earlier. This is giving Hannah Montana vibes, and
Hmm.
we'll get there, but especially the ending, I think, is like very Hannah Montana in the movie, and that's kind of what we're having here. So it's like she's hiding herself, but like she's not really that great at it, you know.
Yes.
So anyway,
I've never
continue.
seen Hannah Montana the movie.
What?
It just never happened.
Bonus up.
Bonus out. I definitely watched Hannah Montana, and Hannah Montana Forever came out after the movie, and I watched some Hannah Montana Forever.
I've never seen Hannah Montana Forever. My sisters were young. I want to say that Hannah Montana the movie came out in like 2009. That sounds right to
Yeah.
me. Maybe 2008. And I took my sisters to the movie theater to see it. And still I do an annual viewing. of Hannah Montana the
Wow.
movie.
We
It
should definitely watch it
is
then.
it is it really holds up. So would definitely recommend. But
So
sadly, we're not talking about Hannah Montana the movie,
no, we
which
are
would
talking
be a
about
worthy
this.
movie to discuss.
There's a lunch scene where Gavin comes over to talk to her just about music or something in general, and she gets up and runs away.
I do want to um talk about Gavin for a second if we could.
Yes,
He's just like a normal looking kid. Gavin is not this like
he's no Zac Efron.
he's
Adam
no Zac
DeMarco, I
Efron.
think you're great. I think you're doing great.
Right. But
But
but you're an everyman kind
yeah,
of actor. And
you're
so
no
it's just
Zac
very
Efron.
weird that there's people like fighting over.
So many people. Stacey. And the outfit choicing in this movie is also bad. Let's talk about fashion for a second. Let's get
Okay.
into passion for
All
fashion.
right, let's do it.
I need to because Debbie Ryan is very much dressed as it's supposed to be like rock,
Edgy.
girly, edgy. Let's call it edgy. She has a lot of big feather earrings. She wears beanies. She's got like side swept straight bangs, but the rest of her hair is curly. None of this fashion though was
layered
particularly
flannel.
2012.
No, it
Except for
wasn't.
they wear big chunky necklaces. Stacey is dressed incredibly preppy in fashion that again was never popular. She's wearing business, which is business as regular clothes was popular at the time.
Which is funny.
But it's overly preppy. She's wearing like wedges at school.
You know, I think this might be a geographic thing because maybe not 2012, but definitely like 2010, we were all into the preppy. We were all like super, super
I was
preppy.
not, but I will say I shaved my head. I'm also from New Orleans. There's a lot of preppy people.
Yeah.
I was trying to rebel. I probably dressed more similarly to Debbie Ryan's character, but not.
Yeah.
There's
I
so
dress
much
like Debbie
effort in
Ryan's
so many.
character now.
And then her friend is dressed over the top as like a theater, just how you would imagine. She's got the fedoras and she has a million accessories and very bright clothes. Everyone has a very specific style. So then Gavin is supposed to be like kind of cool rocker guy. He wears like a leather jacket.
He's in a band. We haven't said
a lot of graphic tees. Oh yeah, he's in a band. They're called the G's. And then he has a friend, Gabe, who's in it. I think that's why they're the G's. Gabe's
Makes
mean.
sense. Gavin.
Gabe has a terrible outfit. Do you know the outfit? Do you know what
I don't know what
about?
you're talking about. I'm sorry.
He wears a red plaid fedora. We are standing inside. He's wearing a green camo scarf, a jacket, and then the t-shirt under his jacket is gray camo.
I actually do remember that outfit. So Gabe is
just
I don't know. He is a jerk, but that doesn't define his fashion style.
No, it's bad. It's bad rocker. It's too.
Is it rocker? Is that like
I guess
he's kind of going for that like over the top
kind of like a Pete
look?
Wentzy look, but it's more modelly and bad.
Yeah, I think it was more modelly.
He is very much the Disney Channel of they dressed him. They said this is a good look, and then they said add 2 more accessories. Because sometimes that's the Disney Channel rule, right?
to make people not like him,
right?
What does he need so that the audience will not like him? A plaid fedora,
red plaid fedora, a green camo scarf, and a gray camo shirt. It was painful to look at. Exactly. Okay, so we'll step out of fashion. It was bad. We have to talk about the more outfits later, but
oh yeah, oh absolutely. We're not there yet though.
We're not there yet. So she does her second show at Slam FM. She says at 8 a.m. tomorrow, everybody have a dance party. Wherever you are, just dance. And
then everyone dances really badly with no music.
With no music, except for Stacey, who hates Radio Rebel for no particular reason. Because she's the mean girl.
I think she hates Radio Rebel just because people like her. And she's jealous, maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
But this is, I think that this is also the first time that we get the sense that the principal hates Radio Rebel.
Again, for no reason. I guess because everyone danced at one time.
Everyone danced. Everyone's listening to Radio Rebel. She like, at one time, I don't think it's here, but she like bans music at the school.
Yeah.
It's like Footloose.
Exactly. This principal, she has no redeeming qualities, this principal.
In Seattle.
And yeah, she hates, Seattle known for its music scene, famously.
It is. Grunge.
Exactly. Yes, she says Radio Rebel better reveal herself. and Radio Rebel doesn't.
So she's anxious.
So Gavin comes over to Tara. Oh, she played one of the G's songs on the station the night before.
Right. And so this whole
Gavin
question is
says-
like, how did Radio Rebel get our demo?
And he says, "Oh, I know you gave it to your stepdad." There's like a little bit of tension, and then he's like, "I know you gave it to your stepdad." She's like, "Phew, I'm out." Again, she's not doing a great job hiding it. He gave her a demo,
But no one
else had.
imagines that she could possibly be Radio Rebel
And
because
still
she can't
no
even
one's
hold a
connecting the
conversation.
dots.
But
I
to
guess
be
it's
fair,
fair.
she
It's fair.
it is she becomes a completely different person when she's on the
Yes.
radio.
And
So.
then she has the idea that we should throw a big dance party. So the Slam FM gets a van. Cammy Q is her like friend at Slam FM. She's another person. It's sort of a Back to the Future vibe in the sense that Cammy Q is like in her 30s and probably shouldn't be friends with a 16-year-old. When she starts at Slam FM, mentor, that's it. When she starts at Slam FM, her stepdad says, my last show flopped, so there's a lot of pressure on this one. Don't say
his
that.
16-year-old daughter who has anxiety.
Yes. Yeah, don't say that. Please don't
bless.
put pressure on your children like that. That's
My
just something I
goodness.
had to say. And the principal gets really mad about the van at lunchtime that's having a dance
She
party outside with
cancels
music.
prom.
And she says, until Radio Rebel's identity has been revealed, there is no prom. I'm shocked. In real life, what would have happened is parents would have complained about this.
Yeah. And
Parents would have
honestly,
been like,
the
"We don't
result
care."
might have been the same because what happens is the kids are like, we don't need prom, we'll do MORP, which is prom spelled
Yes.
backwards.
Slam FM throws MORP, which is prom spelled backwards. And they're like, everyone's invited. You don't need a date. You can wear whatever you want. Just come as you are. To which I say, that's not prom.
That's just hanging out.
Yeah, that's just hanging out. That's just a
Yeah.
party thrown by
Did you go to prom?
Slam FM. I went to 3 or 4 proms.
Wow.
I had a boyfriend in high school, and he didn't go to my school.
I went to a different school. Yeah, I didn't have
And
a
then
boyfriend.
after we broke up, he still brought me to his prom. See, we're kind of friends still, so he brought me to prom senior
That's
year,
cute.
even though we'd broken up. And then I went alone to my senior prom because you didn't have to have a date.
Yeah.
To my senior prom, was it my senior prom or we had another formal dance? It might have been the other formal dance we had that year. But I wore a dress that had been my mom's when she was in law school.
That is awesome.
Isn't that cool?
I love like sentimental and like vintage, like authentically vintage stuff.
Mhm.
I
I still have it. Well, my stepdad has it. And
my laptop bag, which is a messenger bag, and I know how we feel about those. But like it's authentic vintage Coach that belonged to my grandmother, and
that's
like
so cool.
yeah, it's awesome. So I love that. That is not in sight.
Right, because more people wear
on
whatever
Radio
you want,
Rebel,
which again, I just
where
like.
they
Yeah,
bought
what
their
I
clothes at a costume shop.
yeah. There's not a lot of opportunities in life to like dress up fancy. So
You're
I
right,
think if
yeah.
that's not your thing, that's fine, but just don't go to prom. But if you want to go to prom, it's like a thing where you dress up fancy.
But we discussed this before that my cousin went to prom and like in the pictures they were all wearing Chuck Taylors. Like they were all wearing Converse.
My high school, I want to say you had to wear what they call like formal footwear.
We had
We
one
both went to
dance
private school, so weren't there
where
rules for what you could wear?
there was this one dance, I don't know if it was prom, but where you like had to have your shoes on for the first hour and then like you were allowed to take them off.
Oh,
Like that was kind of the thing.
yes.
But I asked my sister because I like complained about how our cousin like wore Converse to prom because it looks goofy because
does
they're
look
wearing
goofy.
beautiful dresses, and then like one of these girls has like the dirtiest white Air Force Ones that I've ever seen in my life with her beautiful dress. And so I like complained about it to my sister. And my sister was like, "Well, I wore shoes for the pictures, but then I changed into my Converse." And I was like,
I guess that's okay.
so and she went to Catholic school, so
I changed
don't
into
know.
Keds at my wedding.
That's cute.
I wore heels during the ceremony and then like for the photos, and then for dance, then I changed into blue
Yeah.
sparkly Keds.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't, and obviously there's I'm not getting married anytime soon. I don't know what I would do because I kind of like having like a white dress and then like colored shoes.
And
I
my
like
dress
that.
was T-length, so you could see my shoes
Oh,
the
okay.
whole time. So it wasn't like it was a long dress and
Sure.
you couldn't see shoes. If I was wearing shoes, you could see them. So I
It
specifically
would have
bought the
looked
blue
like my
sparkly Ken.
sister's. Yeah, it would have looked like
Yes,
my
and
cousin's prom. If
I
yeah,
didn't want that.
fair
But
enough.
there were rules, like one of our dances, the dates, because I went to an all-girl school, but if you had a date, your date was required to be wearing a suit. And I knew people who were turned away because their
Oh,
date was
really?
not wearing a suit. He was wearing like a sports coat and khakis.
I don't remember those kinds of rules for our prom.
We also had a disciplinarian and you didn't. So I guess I went to a very serious.
And to be fair, we followed no rules. It was mayhem in my
Yeah,
high
we followed the
school.
rules. A Supreme
Absolute
Court
mayhem.
justice went to my high school, so
Oh, well, Aubrey Plaza went to mine, so there we
you
go.
win because no one likes Amy Coney Barrett.
But I think it's also representative of our experiences.
I listened to a lot of podcasts and one of them had a ad for a new, so it was by Wondery, so it was a different Wondery.
Mhm.
I don't know if you listen to Wondery podcast.
Yeah, I do.
For a one where they were like talking about high school and they're like, these people aren't competing for prom king, queen, and king. They're competing to be the next Supreme Court justice. And I just thought that was so funny because I was like, were they in my high school?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of any alum that have gotten quite that far. Aubrey Plaza is just always the
That's all
big
I got.
one.
And a lot of people think she is severely underqualified. Anywho, back to our favorite movie, Radio Rebel.
I hate it.
The principal
Can we
hates
have another
dancing.
side conversation?
The principal, yes, says once Radio Rebel reveals herself, she's expelled.
Which
That
is
doesn't entice people to
crazy.
reveal themselves also.
But
which is
also,
not.
like, what does it have to do with anything? Like, is she
Nothing.
because she's leading
And
rebellion in the school?
right,
Like,
that's
I
not
don't.
a thing. I agree.
Right.
And
I
the
mean,
van, when they had brought the van to lunch, the van did stay on the other side of the street, not on school property, on public property, and she had a permit for the noise.
yeah. And
So it's
like, it's
completely
this.
legal.
It seems like it was the school's policy that kids were allowed to leave during lunch. Like, it's all on them. I don't know. I feel like the principal, like in the situation, it could be okay. Like, we want to talk to Radio Rebel about like content and like just the fact that like you are representing our school and like we want to have guidelines for that. But expulsion, like, no,
It's a lot.
no.
Audrey says, don't quit. Because Tara says, I'm going to quit. And Audrey says, don't quit. Continue being Radio Rebel. And
Wait,
then
when did Audrey find out that she was Radio Rebel? I think I might have missed that.
she told Audrey, oh no, that's the thing. This is when she tells Audrey. They're in like the janitor closet.
Yeah.
And this is when she tells Audrey and she says, I'm Radio Rebel. Like, should I quit? And Audrey's like, no, don't quit. And then her stepdad talks to her, but not really about much. He's just like, this is serious. But then the like ratings were good, so he dropped it.
This is serious, but you're making me money, so let's not talk
And the
about
mom's
it.
really excited that Radio Rebel was nominated for prom queen. Again, is her mom seems to be a good mom, but like confused. She cares.
So my mom was kind of this way, where I think my mom wanted me to be popular, and like I just, it's not that I didn't care, I just didn't like the popular kids, like didn't want to be their friend. And I kind of see that in this mom. Like this mom just like wants her daughter to like,
Yeah, it's hard because you have an idea. I mean, as a mom, you have an idea of what you want for kids, and it's as simple as I picked out my son's outfit today, and this happens to every parent eventually. And he said, it's not the first time it's happened, but it happens every so often. He said, I can't wear this shirt. He's 3, so everything is can and cannot. He said, can't wear this shirt, and just starts with that. Like I picked out a really cute outfit, and he's wearing his crocodile shirt and the shorts that match. She said, I can't wear the shirt, and he goes, let's pick out a shirt together. And he picks out a different shirt, and it's fine, but it's just you have an idea for your kids and you plan things, and it starts with the shirt, and then just it keeps going. You want them to do X, Y, and Z. And I mean, we see this with like Zac Efron in High School Musical with basketball. He wants to play basketball. That's his dad's dream. And so it, to some extent, it's unfortunately it is very real, and there very much are parents who will act upon this. Because even if your kid does something you don't want, like I don't really like music. I don't like listening to a lot of music,
I relate to that.
especially don't like listening to people play music badly. And I don't know anything about music, can't read music or anything. So I would be I don't really want either of my children to like learn a
An instrument.
because I find I'm gonna have to listen to them practice the cello badly forever. No, thank you. And maybe they'll be good. Maybe they're a bunch. But my son does have a lot of musical qualities. He asked me to sing a song the other day, and I sang it, and he was like, "That's not how it goes," because I don't know the tune because I'm like tone deaf.
Right.
And so he like sang it with the right tune. So he's definitely has musical abilities, and so things like that is just like he didn't picture that.
But here's the thing. Her daughter is a very successful radio DJ at a very young age. Why is that not enough for her mom?
So true.
You know, like
So
why can't she just be proud of what she's doing? Like why does she also have to be prom queen?
And even if she wasn't, even if she was this like debilitatingly shy, anxious girl, she has a healthy social group.
Right. She's not doing bad things.
She seems to be, no one's concerned about her grades at any point in time. So that doesn't seem to be a thing. And so, yeah, she's not like into hard drugs. So why is that not enough for her mom?
No,
and then on top of that, you're right. She's this widely successful DJ. She's got a job at the radio station, which even though she did get it because her stepdad works there, it seems that she earned it because she had a big following all on her own. And
well, because I think her following was primarily her school. And then when she gets on Slam FM, it just kind of takes off.
Her stepdad found it independently, though.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
So, but yes, that should be enough. But there are definitely, her mom probably wants her to be popular and she definitely puts effort into her looks because, as we said, she's like the edgier dresser, but that doesn't seem to be how her mom wants her to dress.
Right.
So,
yeah, her mom would be happy having her all preppy.
Is her mom a good mom or is she vapid? Maybe both.
I think her mom's doing her best.
Yeah, that's all we can ask her to do. I told my son this morning, I said, I couldn't love you more and I couldn't love you less.
Love it.
Never gonna change. Okay, so what's next? So yeah, now Audrey knows. The mom's so excited she's gonna be prom queen. Then the principal cancels prom. The kids are very mad. They call her. They're protesting outside of Slam FM. She needs to get out. She asks a dancing sandwich. That's exactly what it sounds like.
It's amazing.
To help her. Dancing sandwich says he got you. He runs outside, he distracts everyone so that she can sneak out the back with Audrey. It was a funny little
scene. Funny, yeah. They
announced that there is going to be a morp. And then Stacy is having conversation because they're practicing their Shakespeare thing, which isn't Shakespeare. They're supposed to take a Shakespeare scene and make it modern. I hate this as an assignment because what did we learn from this? What did we gain?
We actually did that when I was in middle school.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I enjoyed it.
I had to carry around an egg in high school. So did you have an egg?
No, I had a baby doll that I wrapped a 10-pound weight to because our baby had to weigh at least 10 pounds.
Oh, okay. No, I had an egg. Did you name your baby doll?
I must have. I don't know. I don't remember.
We picked out of a hat if our egg was a boy or a girl. The egg option was not graded and was optional, but most people did it because it was like just a tradition.
No, we had to carry the baby. If anyone found your baby lying around, they would turn it into the health teacher and then you would lose points. But the senior, because it was always the freshman health class that carried the baby, the seniors would steal the babies and then like be like, we're not going to turn in the health, like ransom notes. Like you have to do this or else like we'll turn it into the health teacher. Again, mayhem in my school.
The Lindenberg baby at your school every day.
We won. Oh my gosh, it was so sad. They did it to like, I mean, she wasn't shy, but she was just like a very pure soul. And they stole her baby. And the seniors in our school had a senior lounge, like a big room with couches and whatnot that they could hang out. And outside the senior lounge was kind of like in the basement of the school, if you will. So there were windows, but then the windows had grates over them at the street level. And the seniors climbed out the window and hung the baby from the grate. It was so bad. And this girl like gets a picture of it.
That's so sad.
Like, so traumatized. Anyway, so we probably should have had a disciplinarian.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Things might have gone differently.
You needed a Salvaggio. That was our disciplinarian. The Vag is what we called her.
Uh-oh.
I don't know.
Family friendly.
Right, I'm sorry. You can bleep that. Bleeping it'll make it sound worse.
Probably. Yeah, they're doing this modern scene, but Stacy's pretty sure that she knows that Tara is Radio Rebel.
This is how Stacy figures it out. Tara says, Stacy says, we should be a Morp king and queen. There was going to be a prom king and queen. People already voted, blah, blah, blah. And Tara says, yeah, you should tell Radio Rebel that you're her #1 fan. And it was Tara being very sassy, and Tara was previously not sassy at all. So then
Right.
Stacy is listening to Radio Rebel alone in her little convertible. And Radio Rebel says, yeah, let's have a Morp king and queen for my favorite fan. Or my #1 fan, whichever it was. And Stacy says, you know, this person who sounds exactly like Tara could be Radio Rebel.
Yeah.
So she goes to school, they're practicing the play again, and she says, I'm having a listening party and I'm inviting civilians, just like you. And Tara says, I can't come.
Go. Yeah.
I'm doing something.
Way to go,
What?
Tara.
Way to go. No plan again.
If you're gonna have like a double life, you gotta be ready for it.
You've got to know someone's gonna at some point say, what do you do tonight? And you have to have an excuse. Yeah, you have to be ready. Always. And so she goes to the viewing party.
Mm-hmm.
And again, here's where if she was using a real voice changer and her voice really changed, this wouldn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Because
but she pre-records the show, right?
Just done it.
That's the
she
whole thing.
pre-records the show, and then when she has callers, there's a list they can press like 1 through 40 to get.
Mm-hmm.
It's like hitting a bop it.
An appropriate response.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so Stacy's calling and trying to talk to her. Her mom and Cammy Q are hitting them, but they're like hitting the wrong ones. They're confused. So she goes in the bathroom, and there's like some hijinks and ensues where she is on the phone as Radio Rebel patched into the show. Stacy's also on the phone, and Stacy's trying to find her on the phone. They're like running around her house. And it ends with Stacy finding her after the call has ended in Stacy's bedroom. Stacy's like, what are you doing in here? And Tara, not Tara, her name's Tara, says, I was looking at your photos. That's the weirdest thing you could have said.
I was looking for your birth certificate.
And she like picks up a crown that Stacy has on a desk, like clearly like a sentiment. It's like with other sentimental items.
Right. She has very clearly crossed a boundary.
Right. That'd be like if I had a party and then I have some artwork by my bed that my son made me. So it's like if someone came in my house during a party, I go in my bedroom and they're just standing there next to my bed holding the very sentimental artwork my son had made me.
No, thank you.
Like, what are you just? And then I'm saying, what are you doing in here? And they say, looking at your pictures.
Right. Well, that's so not weird. Better.
No, right, exactly. And there's a photo of like a 2nd grade Stacy wearing a crown. So this is where Stacy wants to be prom queen. Right. And she's like, I remember looking at this. I remember you wore this every day. And Stacy goes, and you remember everyone making fun of me? And why didn't you just stop wearing it? If people, sorry, but like in general, this was, as far as teasing goes, this is a pretty easy thing to stop doing.
That's true.
And Tara goes, no, I was so jealous that you could be yourself. Did people make fun of you? I had no idea. So anywho, I guess we're supposed to feel bad for Stacy, but I don't feel bad for Stacy because she's still mean. Nothing about her changes after this interaction.
Yeah, you're right.
It's and true. Then they go outside and Gavin's band, the G's, are playing. Mm-hmm. And Gavin, it's kind of becoming clear, Gavin is still going to prom with Stacy. They aren't dating or anything, but he's her prom date. But he's starting to have feelings for Tara. Right. And his bandmate says, we're rock stars. You can't be like held down by Tara. What if you're gonna be held down by anyone? Oh, he says like, good job talking to the girl who's stepdad runs Slam FM. Mm-hmm. Which, like, if you're going to be held down by anyone, be held down by the girl whose stepdad runs the radio station. Yeah. Fair
enough. But he's like, no, it's not like that.
Right. And so then he says, pay attention to Stacy. And this is kind of a recurring theme. He's just kind of a jerk to him about things like that. Yeah. Repeatedly. He's like, we're rock stars now. You had one song played on the radio station one time. So I think you can just calm down.
But it doesn't matter because Gavin quits the G's.
Gavin does quit the G's.
Wow.
So I guess it's just the G. 1G.
1G. Yes.
So Stacy. So then after this, Stacy has a little minion best friend who fits the stereotype of well, she's not Black or a minority, although Tara's best friend is Indian.
Mhm.
Is this the first
Yeah.
Indian character?
It might be, but I don't want to tie myself to that.
I don't either. So anyway, the sidekick, because
No,
our
Naughty
villain
Nine
needs a
had an
sidekick.
Indian kid.
Yes, you are correct.
Yeah.
The sidekick, she goes to Slam FM and pretends to be delivering a pizza and catches Cammy Q and Tara's mom discussing Tara and how Radio Rebel went that night. And she records it. Just to record. She doesn't take a video. It's a voice recording, which I just thought was kind of funny.
Not everyone
And
had video phones in 2012.
that's true. It was 2012. And they see her and they see her fall on the pizza, which I did not think was funny, though it was played for laughs. Why is she roller skating? Why didn't she
Yeah,
just walk
it
the
was very
pizza?
weird to have her face like all covered in the pizza toppings and whatnot. I don't know.
And there's no
I
discussion of why is she like did Stacy tell her to do this, or did she do this of her own volition? Because other than this, she seems to be supportive of Tara and just kind of follows the stereotype of dumb friend who doesn't know what's going on.
yeah, I can feel that. I don't know.
So I don't understand her motivation in this seat.
Yeah, well, it's common. I guess it's a little bit more straightforward, but in Camp Rock, Demi Lovato covers her face in flour and she sneaks into a place. So
I mean, kids love slapstick comedy.
they do. It's true.
Bugs Bunny, everything.
Yeah,
everything starts there.
yeah.
So she knows we have this recording that essentially proves Tara is Radio Rebel.
Mhm.
Stacy confronts her the next day, says, "I know you're Radio Rebel. I have proof now that you're Radio
Mhm.
Rebel. Tell everyone to vote for me, or I will get you expelled, and I'm going to release this."
Yeah.
And she does on the radio say, "Go vote for Stacy."
Right. This is very Hannah Montana, the movie. I know you haven't seen it, but it is.
Watch it. Then they're supposed to do their presentation, and Stacy locks her in a janitor closet.
So it's just her and Gavin.
This is not how school. Then she's like, "You're going to fail this class now." Gavin's so upset she's not there. Nothing about this scene makes sense to me. This isn't how school works. Like, if you're not there for a presentation, shouldn't there be attendance? If I had missed I don't know how most schools work. If I'd missed a class, but I'd been there for the previous class, my school took attendance every class. They would have said, "Kelsey isn't here anymore." They tracked it.
I have a funny story that goes with this. We had a physics teacher who had a glass eye. He had one glass eye. And there was this girl that I took Spanish with who was in his homeroom and like sat in his blind spot. And so regularly we would go to Spanish and our Spanish teacher would be like, "You were marked absent today, like, but you're here." And she would be like, "I was in home." But she sat in his blind spot. It was great. Anyway, yes, is the answer, is that attendance is a thing.
Is trying to dox her. Yeah. So, and then you don't just fail things when you're not there, because when you're not there, there's a reason. Like, I was locked in a closet, and
I was
you
extremely
get to
ill.
redo them. Stacy says, "Let's just do it without her." Gavin's so upset. Like, at Tara, I did not understand at all.
Yeah. Well, I think he
This
was
is
like,
when-
how could she let us down? You know?
Yeah. This is when his friend Gabe wears the horrible outfit.
Mhm.
And this is when he breaks up with the cheese, I think.
Right.
And yeah, this is, I said, I love this plaid shirt, camo combo. Oh, and her drama friend Audrey does a last poor Yorick, but with a spork. No, I thought that was hilarious. I thought the best part of the whole movie.
I don't know. Cannot comment. So we end up at Morp, right? Are we ready to move to Morp?
Yeah, we can go to Morp.
Yeah, so it's the day of Morp. The principal, knowing that Radio Rebel is up for prom queen, is like very much like, all right, I'm gonna get her. And yeah, she's like, I don't know, like this principal has something wrong.
She is like touching a student's hair.
Mm-hmm.
She's like twirling a student's hair around her finger. She bites the hair. Again, it's played for laughs. It was just weird.
It was very uncomfortable. Yeah, and Radio Rebel ends up winning prom queen.
And this is Debbie Ryan's outfit is, her hair is permed. Her side bangs are still straight.
Yeah, that was really weird because like
her hair is redder than the rest of the movie. She didn't.
Yeah.
And her outfit's just awful. And they're like, "You look amazing." And I was like, "She looks pretty bad." Nothing about Debbie Ryan. Debbie Ryan's a beautiful woman.
See, we're the mean girls now.
She just looks awful. She's wearing just a big flouncy skirt and like
Not
a t-shirt, but I guess that was kind of a 2012 with a vest
It was.
And I
It
think a
was
chunky necklace. The
lots of
fingerless
layers.
gloves were not 2012. I've never was wearing fingerless gloves. That
Yeah,
was more 80s.
I guess
Because
so.
I think I did wear kind of like a skirt, like it's not to morph, but like
Yeah.
someone's birthday party.
Yeah. I feel like standards might have been a little bit different depending on the school, to be fair. But anyway, so Debbie Ryan, Tara, she goes up to accept that
She
she
does.
is Radio Rebel. And so the principal is like, got her, gonna
You're
expel. She said,
expelled.
like, you're expelled. And then this is the Hannah Montana movie part because then everyone starts saying, I'm Radio Rebel.
I'm
I'm
Radio
Radio
Rebel.
Rebel. So,
I'm
like, the
Radio
whole
Rebel.
idea is like, lots of people have admitted to being Radio Rebel. So, how do you know that it's her? But
Right, you
everyone
can't
knows that
expel
it's
her.
her because
Yes, it's obviously
it's
her.
obvious. But anyway, in the Hannah Montana movie, and I'm gonna spoil it, is that we find out that Miley is Hannah, and then all of the people who are present just agree to not tell anybody.
That happens in Spider-Man too. Like a whole, I mean, just in so many times in Spider-Man in the movies where like the Tobey Maguire ones, his
Hmm.
mask comes off and then everyone is just like,
We won't tell anybody.
we won't tell anybody you're Spider-Man.
But
Half
it
of New
was
York
just it
is in
was very,
Spider-Man.
very similar to Hannah Montana movie, just because with the stage and the
Mm-hmm.
Hannah
And I guess
Montana
this
movie
was
was better
pre
though.
live streaming everything on Instagram and TikTok
Yeah,
and Facebook.
yeah, exactly.
Because they would have been like,
Um,
we won't say you're Hannah Montana, and then someone would be like, oh, I've literally been live streaming this whole concert to like 30,000 people.
so everyone knows. Yeah, well, the thing in the Hannah Montana movie is that there's like this journalist that's trying to find out who Hannah Montana is, but his daughter loves Hannah Montana. And so
Mm.
they go, and then his daughter's like, Dad, you can't tell people like who
It's
it
not that hard to
is.
figure out who Hannah Montana is. I just want to say she looks and sounds exactly like Miley.
Fair enough. Anyway, but that moment, was just a moment of solidarity.
True.
Um, you know,
Gavin does confront Stacy. He doesn't go to Morp with her. He says, I don't like how you're treating her. I was wrong about you. So they're not Morp dates anymore. I hate the word Morp. I'm not a Morp fan.
my sister's school actually had MORP for the freshmen and sophomores.
Oh, interesting.
It was, and then like the money that they paid to go to MORP helped to
Went to
like
prom.
subsidize their prom. Yeah, it was
Mm.
kind of like their thing. But anyway, so it's MORP. Uh, Tara wins. Tara ends up giving Stacy the crown, which is just like a very
She makes Stacy say, I'm Radio Rebel to get the crown. Which like was that nice? And then she's like, and you're being you, and you're so amazing because you're being you right now. It wasn't
what?
great. Yeah, exactly. But Stacy's loving it. Stacy's like, I'm more queen. Stacy
Which
though
she
doesn't do
wasn't.
anything
Like
to redeem herself.
no one chose her to be MORP queen. If
No.
the idea is that your classmates love you, and that's what prom queen or MORP queen or whatever
Right.
means, your classmates don't love you.
We did not have
That's what
prom
happens.
queen.
Well, we didn't either.
When we
What
were
else school?
juniors, they literally picked it out of a hat.
Oh, that's weird.
It was weird. And then seniors, we just did senior superlatives.
Yeah, that's what we did too. All right. So
That's basically, and then we're all Radio Rebel. I'm Radio Rebel. But Stacy doesn't do anything to redeem herself. Neither does Gabe. Neither of our villains get anything. Like there's nothing with Gabe. After we tell Gabe we're not in the band anymore, he doesn't have any lines. We see him in the background at more, and that's it.
yeah, I mean, I would say the only character development is Tara, like, quote unquote, coming out of her shell. But as you said, that's like not necessarily realistic. Like, I don't know, like if she uses the radio show as a coping mechanism, which I think would be totally legitimate, that doesn't necessarily mean that then she also, becomes very comfortable in person.
So comfortable to the point where she is
Like
maybe she would
confronting
start
the mean
speaking to
girl.
right, but maybe she would start speaking to Gavin. I can see obviously someone who's incredibly shy getting in a relationship. Gavin actively pursues her.
Hmm.
But yeah, confronting the mean girl, talking back to her, just starting to talk to all kinds of random people.
Being on a stage in front of your entire class, like
She
all
gives
of
like a
that.
speech about how we're all Radio Rebel,
Yeah.
and that part is not realistic.
Right. And the movie.
Anywho, that's it. Closing thoughts. I thought it was hilarious that it was a big deal for her to go from podcast to radio. because
Yeah.
no one's goal of being on a podcast now is like, maybe I'll get a radio show out of
Yeah,
this
now
on a
it's the other way
local
around.
radio station.
Yeah, that is kind of funny. Yeah, I mean, I think what I didn't like about it, I didn't like a lot about it. And I think the biggest thing was just the vibe. Like, it was the acting that was very poor.
Mhm.
It
It was similar
was,
to Zapped in that it just felt like a a dumb movie made for dumb kids.
yeah, I think that that's fair. Yeah, absolutely.
But I liked
I
it
think
more than
that's,
Zapped.
I did not. I Well, I think the problem is that they had, at least in Debbie Ryan and in Adam DeMarco, they had good actors, at least in the two
Mhm.
of them. And it didn't come through. And I don't know if that's because that's how the screenplay was, the dialogue just wasn't there. They were trying to kind of make a serious movie, but they had way too much juvenile stuff to make it a serious movie.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I'll skip ahead and I'll start with giving us Disney Wand IDs. I'm gonna give this a
Yes.
3. Um, and that's just where I'm at. It's lower than the Jenny Project for me. Just because I feel like they had the ability to make a good movie and didn't. Boom. Where are you?
I would give it a 5. To me,
Okay.
it's not good. I'm not gonna rewatch it. It
To be
obviously
fair,
wasn't
it's
nostalgic.
not even a decom. So
It wasn't nostalgic for me, unlike your sister who thinks it's a classic Disney Channel original movie.
isn't that funny? I mean,
Yeah,
she would have been 9 when it came out. So, I mean, maybe
yeah.
that's the audience. I just think if
Even
you're
the
making a
clothing
movie for
choices
9-year-olds about prom, like, I don't know.
make
I
High
don't
School
know.
Musical. Like
Make High School Musical. Yeah,
High School
like
Musical stuff. We know it can be done. Call Kenny Ortega. Get Kenny Ortega on the phone. Like
yeah.
it's hard because people make these movies and they're like, this is what kids want. And it's like, yeah, kids will watch this. I just watched it, yes, 2 days ago on my TV. So like
Right.
people will watch it, but you can make people better movies. Following
Yeah,
that, our movie next week is an amazing Disney Channel
it is a really good one. Yeah.
original movie. We're going to be doing The Color of Friendship because February is Black History Month. So we'll be doing Black Stars, Black lead
Hmm.
cast for the entire month, starting with The Color of Friendship, which is a classic Disney Channel original movie.
Yep.
And it's
And
so good, and I'm
then
so excited. I think it'll hold up. And this movie I saw, and we watched it in middle school at one point in time during
isn't that
class. My
interesting?
teacher had a recording. She'd recorded on VHS like 6 years beforehand, and it
I
had the
have
original commercials, which we were like, "Can we watch the commercials?" And she was like, "I guess."
I have never seen The Color of Friendship actually. They used to, I've like seen the advertisements for it. I guess I've seen the trailer because, like, again, they used to often show it during
Hmm.
February. And I just never saw it. So I'm very excited to watch it again, just because yeah, I mean, race is something that we discuss a lot, I feel like, on this
Hmm.
podcast. So it'll be interesting to see how it's handled then and then throughout the month as we watch the various movies.
I probably haven't seen it since watching it in middle school with
Mhm.
that teacher, but I'm excited to watch it again. I think it'll be good. I think it'll be better than this. Another flop. I'll call this our another flop. We've had some
Yeah.
flippity flops recently. It's tough because there are some really good DComs and then there are just some
We just don't
not
seem to be watching.
great ones. Not in
But
the past month.
for our listeners, we if we do one decom a week, we will be doing this podcast until April of 2026. So
So
there are a
buckle
lot of
up.
decoms. And to be fair, we have plans beyond that. So
Yes, we're talking
I
about like
hope
what we
you're
can
in
do
for the long
after.
haul. All right, so this has been Go Big or Go Decom. You can follow us, get our podcast right to your inbox if you follow us on our Substack or go decom.substack.com. You can follow us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. I just found out today, fun fact, Google Podcasts does not exist anymore. So we weren't there anyway, but that's just a
No,
fun
we're really
fact.
not there.
Now we're never going to be there. So I'm Cece Ciccone.
I'm Kelsey Bowman.
This has been Go Big or Go Decom. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening. Bye.